Welcome back to the Rachel and Adam Show. Today is Tuesday, so Rachel comes on with me and we talk about anything in terms of health in your relationship. Not a healthy relationship per se, but actually like the health of your body in terms of and today we're going into what's your support system around you. You know, the most successful people on earth, they have boards, they have a team around them, they have a coach, they have mentors, they have built this entire this entire team around them, this entire staff of people around them to make certain that their dreams come true. And my question today is just what do you have? That's one of the questions I ask myself all the time. It's like, well, if I don't have a coach, then am I prioritizing and putting that much importance on my dreams, or am I saying, they're not a priority, they're not that important? Because we all know that we run better with the team, and we all know that we do better with the coach. And so if you're not getting that coach and you're not getting that team, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you downplaying your dreams? Are you cannibalizing your dreams? And if you are cannibalizing your dreams, think about who you are listing as a reason for cannibalizing that dream. I guarantee you that your kids don't want to be the source of you not going for what you want in your life. But anyway, why did you want to talk about this today anyway?
Well, it kind of started off yesterday around, I don't know, I was getting out, it's getting colder outside, and and it gets harder to want to get in to go get your workout in. So I was thinking about what else kind of makes me want to come in, and I think it's a big part of it is this people that you have supporting you and your support system. So when I walked in, I was just I'm glad I get to see so-and-so and so-and-so. And then everybody was just being super supportive of each other. And I'm without that, it'd be a lot harder to keep going in every single time. And
that's an interesting thing because there's a paradox there because a lot of people are scared of that.
Relying on other people?
No, they're scared of the group. They're scared of what if I don't fit in? Oh, what if I don't make any friends? Oh, I've got to meet new people. It's a scary thing to walk into a gym. Think of walking into a party where you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Even though people like to go to parties. It's terrifying. But once you get to know them, then it makes it so much easier. So I think there's a weird thing going on there.
Well, we kind of all bounce off each other's abilities too. Afterwards, this was another reason why there was a nutrition group, and there's an array of people of ages who are there to support each other, and they're learning new tips and tricks and the science of nutrition. And you can ask questions. You can have somebody that has been there, done that. There's always somebody that's been in the shoes that you're trying to fill. So
not always, but I get what you mean.
But there's always somebody
that's why you
had
get
to
a
take
coach.
that journey.
Your coach has been where you are. Your coach has had to fight through something. Your coach has had to learn to become the expert. A grid gym, I used to think the accountability and motivation were just such a tiny part of my job, and the expertise was the gold. And I still think that's a big piece of it, but I don't think that that's near as big as. And that's not to say that I think that all pieces have their place. The motivation has its place. You are there to push people. The accountability has its place. You are there to keep people accountable. To me, if you miss a bunch of workouts and I don't call you, that's not me. I'm not coaching at that point.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, as far as getting everybody to one of the first things. There was not one of the first things, I shouldn't say this it that way, but I remember one time between you and I when you were working at the gym and somebody new came in, and you're kind of Rach is kind of shy, she's not just gonna walk up to just anybody and be hey buddy, what's going on, da 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 da. She kind of tends to be a little bit more quiet at first, and I was if you see anybody new at the gym, go up and make friends with them immediately as fast as you possibly can. Because we want people to feel extremely welcome in the gym, because if they feel welcome and they feel safe, then they'll explore more about who they are, and they'll explore more about what they can do in terms of exercise, and then they'll have more success in everything else that they're doing in life.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it, that I didn't give enough credit to 8 years ago when I started the gym.
Yeah, it does make a difference knowing, I don't know, knowing what to expect and feeling welcome. Like, nobody wants to be in a room where they don't feel welcome.
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't think anybody does.
No, yeah, and so like to me, like how do I build safety into everybody's into everybody's experience at your gym? I think that's a huge deal. But like, it's also like there's another paradox here. It's like, I'm gonna do as much as I possibly can to make sure that you feel welcome, but you've got to get in and hire me to make sure that I can help you get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing with coaching. You have to have the guts to actually do the thing, you know, to start building the team around you.
I mean, you can have all the motivation in the world, but you can't rely on that forever. It takes a group effort in a lot of ways. I think that a lot of the women that I talk to, like they have their days where they go in and they know they're going to go. It's structured, and their family members know that. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down as one of my things, is like, you have to get agreement with the people around you.
Yeah, like, this is my night, this is my thing. I even say that to you, and we don't even have kids. When he would like schedule things during my workout, I'm like, I told you I want to be here, so we got to get on the same page. If you're going to support me, then we can't schedule things during my workout. Yeah,
and that was one of the things, like a lot of people that didn't grow up in an entrepreneurial family don't realize the amount of work that's involved and the amount of attention that's involved. And I know, like, that was one of the first conversations when we decided, like, we're going to do this. And, you know, I was like, listen, like, 5 years from now, it's not going to be that much different than it is now. Like, I'm going to be working 12-hour days, 16-hour days. Some days I'm not going to see you, and you know, like, I'm going to crawl into bed when it's dark. There's going to be days where all we talk about, like, there's going to be a lot of meals where, like, we don't talk about anything except for work. You know, like, there's going to be stuff involved here. Like, it's going to be it's going to seem like a heavy burden at times. You know, so we had to have an agreement. Like, this is my job. This is what I do. This is what is going to be what the expectation is going to be. And without that agreement, I don't think that it can go. It's not going to go very smooth if you don't have that agreement up front.
Yeah.
That mutual agreement.
Page,
yeah.
Being on the same page about what the goal is. Like, where is this person going? Where is this person going? Yeah,
and I think it has to be voluntary. Like, if she didn't mutually agree, if she didn't say, like, okay, I agree, this is your dream, this is your passion, this is the thing that you are driving for, and she was like, well, that's stupid, I don't think it would work. You know, it has to be a voluntary thing on both sides. Like, just like people walking into the gym, it has to be a voluntary move. They have to make that first step. Like, no one else can make it for you. Like, you have to take that first step.
It's your commitment.
In building your team.
Yeah, and building your team. Like, it's not just like the immediate family and your.
But it is, though.
But it starts with that.
That's the agreement, right? You have to get an agreement with your significant other. You got to get an agreement with your kids. You got to get an agreement with your siblings, your family, your friends. Yeah, like, listen, are you going to support me in this, or are you going to hold me back?
And if you're going to hold me back, then I'm going to distance myself from you.
I think you have to have that tough conversation with people. It's not easy. It's really, really difficult, but you have to have that tough conversation.
If it's really that important to you, then it shouldn't affect you that much.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's one of the, like, everyone knows that they do better with a coach, but they don't get one. Why?
Because they can figure it out themselves.
Yeah, but they already know that the coach, like, sometimes a coach doesn't know more than, like sometimes the expert isn't an expert. I just heard a story about a guy on the other side of town that a trainer that at the end of his people's workout, he had everybody do the exact same thing. They took 100. It was like they overloaded their back squat, so they did like 110% of their 1 rep max, and they only did eccentrics. It's like, oh my God, you did what?
What's eccentrics?
Where you just do the lowering portion, and then you set the bar down, and then you lift it back up, and then you do it again, and then you lift it back up. Like, 2 people lift it back up. And I was just like, that's so dangerous, dude. Like, no, don't do that with anybody, ever. Like, Eddie Hall is one of the strongest men that has ever lived. He doesn't do that.
But what you're saying is, a coach you got to make sure that the coach is.
Yeah, you got to make sure the coach is an expert that really knows what they're talking about. But But back to like I got off subjects there, guys. But if you know that you do better, like the thing is like if you said I'll do it on my own, what I really think that you're saying is my dreams aren't important.
Okay.
Or you're saying my dreams aren't a priority, or you're saying I'm too scared to find out if I'll succeed or I'll fail.
You're probably afraid of making the commitment to it, or
I mean,
like you're not totally committed.
Because I've been there too. I've done this before too, where I'm just like I've analyzed this before, like stuff in my past where I'm sure that I was scared of succeeding, I think on some level it comes back to if I succeed, then I'll lose this dream that I really like thinking about. Even if I succeed,
because it's a dream and it's no longer a dream.
It's no longer a dream anymore. Now it's a reality, and you're like, well. Like now it can't be this like thing in my mind, you know, like you kind of live on this ideology instead of going for it.
Well, maybe it's because you have to think of what's next.
Yeah, maybe that too.
You have to keep going.
Yeah.
In that direction.
It's just easier to just stay right where you are.
What can be next?
But I think that's what you're saying when you say, "No, I'll do it on my own. No, I can do this on my own." Everybody thinks that, but like no one in the history of the world has ever done anything really great by themselves. You know, Alexander the Great had an entire army, generals, like an entire nation behind him. You know?
I think of the most successful people ever, and
they had
built an empire before they were able to get to where they were.
Right. Nobody did it by themselves.
Yeah. I mean, well, who are you talking about that said, I don't know, it was the quote that you were talking about this morning, about if you don't have a support system, then...
He was saying, I don't remember the exact quote, so I don't want to butcher it, but basically he was saying that if you don't get a team of people around you, then what the hell are you doing? Like he was saying the most successful people he analyzed all the most successful people, and he was like, look, this person had this. You know, like Mozart had this mentor. You know, like all these different, like he went through, like Einstein had this and this and this. Michael Jordan had this and this and this. You know, Michael Jordan's dad played professional baseball. You know, like had all of these different people in their lives, and he was like, they had and they weren't all that they just happened by circumstance.
It wasn't just like talent, and then they just formed this.
Yeah, everybody looks at Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're like, "Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger was always going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger." No, he wasn't.
He probably had a role model first, and then he probably got a coach to get better.
He got acting lessons, and he learned from. He had a bunch of mentors in bodybuilding. If you read his book, and then he went to college for finance or in accounting or something like that. And then he got all these different. He kept on going. He kept on getting coaches. He kept on putting more people on his team.
Okay,
he wasn't always just gonna be Arnold. It just didn't happen. He made it happen.
So, what about having the wrong support system around you?
Well, that's not getting the agreement.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, some people think that they have, like, a good group of friends, they have a good work environment, but they could be deterring from that based off of who they think are friends and
some
good family members.
Some people say things that they think are positive when they're really a negative. Like let's say my goal is to lose 12 pounds.
Okay. And
someone goes, you don't need to lose 12 pounds. You could probably stand to gain a couple. Mm-hmm. They're trying to be nice, but that's really mean. Mm-hmm. They are negatively influencing the dream that you have set, or the goal that you have set for yourself, the target that you have set for yourself.
Saying you are good where you are is saying that you're not going to get anywhere you want to be. Mm-hmm.
That might, at first it sounds like a positive statement, but it's not. And that is not a friend that I want around me.
Yeah.
And neither is if let's say you find yourself not comfortable telling a friend of a success that you had.
Because of what reason?
You're just afraid to tell them.
Why would you be afraid to tell them of a success that you have?
Maybe they're going to judge you for it. Maybe they're going to be like...
Jealous?
Well, you didn't deserve that anyway. Well, that's just luck.
Well, then that person is probably not somebody you would want to have around you. I'm guessing it's a jealous moment, or we kind of tend to see the people that are doing what we want to do, and we give them a reason not to want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, a lot of times when I would say, oh, I have to go to my workout, but I was like with my friends, or with my family, or working with my coworkers, they'd be like, oh, you're not going to make it to your workout. You're not going to make it. Like, how many times did I hear that and decided, no, they're not going to influence that decision because it's my thing. It's not their thing. Like, yeah, I could sit here and chit-chat and shoot the shit all day long, but I'm gonna hate myself later for doing that.
Yeah, you're either gonna suffer the pain of discipline, or you're gonna suffer the pain of regret. Like, one is gonna last forever. One is gonna last an hour.
But in that moment, they weren't saying like, "Oh, you can't do it. You can't do it." They were. They were. Yeah, they were. You're right.
But they were really saying.
But they also wanted you to stick around and.
Yeah, but why did they do that?
They don't. I don't know.
They
don't have the guts to do it themselves.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. But also, I think they were saying, "No, stay here and be normal like me. Like, don't show me up. Like, I don't want to. Like, if you go to your workout, I'm gonna feel bad for not going to my workout." It's that guilt. It's that fear of not being enough.
It's a tiny little bit of guilt. It's just it's so tiny they don't realize they're doing it. It's almost like a joke, or like a nudge, like just kidding.
And that's
but really,
that gets into some of that.
Said it for a reason. Some
of that stuff that we were talking about earlier between the logic and the emotion, or the chaos and order. Like, there has to be like, we live in a world where there is basically no logic and no order. There is so much emotion and so much chaos that nobody can deal with a straightforward, like, this is the logical thing. Because I think on some level it's understandable. Like, thinking is really difficult. Like, you use up a lot of glucose in your mind to try to wrap your head around a new subject.
Is that how it's used?
Yeah, like your brain actually, like, when you're learning something new, your brain actually uses up more glycogen than it would have if you were just doing the same thing. Like, they did a study on Tetris. I thought this was a really interesting study. They took they use video games a lot because it's something that people have to learn that's new, and they did all this stuff to them. Anyway, basically, when people are learning a new subject, it takes tons and tons of brain power. Like, tons. I mean, they're just like zapped by the time they're done an hour's worth of learning. But like 6 weeks into learning how to do it, they're very, very skilled, and they use basically no brain power to continue to do the
Tetris
thing.
After a while, it's just like...
Yeah, and they use Tetris to do it. And it was a really, really interesting study. But I think the same thing, like the order and chaos, and people are really scared to think right now. We have way too much chaos and way too much emotion, and not enough order and not enough chaos. But you can go the other direction there. Like we talked about, like, if you have too much order and too much logic, you become a tyrant. You know, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
But you need, like, but it's just as it's just as bad to go the complete other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so going off in a new direction.
We can stay on that one for a while if you want.
Okay. Well, do you have anything else?
I mean, I can go on and on about chaos and order.
Well,
I think it's just such an interesting topic.
Well, that's not our topic, really.
But is it?
I don't know.
All right, what do you have?
Kind of what I was talking about, like the people that you surround yourself. Like how you're the average of the 5 closest people you have, or you always want to be. You never want to be the smartest person in the room. Yeah,
it never happens to me.
But I'm just saying, you never want to be the smartest person in the room.
Nah, I know what you mean.
Shut up! I can't believe you said that. Yeah, that never happens.
It does.
But you want to strive to surround yourself with people who you're going to learn. They might not be smarter. Maybe that's a bad way to say it. But you want to surround yourself with people that you can learn from. Ask questions.
I think there's multiple perspectives that you could take from never being the smartest person in the room. Like, for one, like, being humble is probably part of it, and then also realizing that everybody has something that you can learn from.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then there's also, pushing towards like being around people who have really, like, pushed the limits of their brain and continue to
get
push.
your gears turning and getting you thinking in new directions and in ways that you haven't before.
Yeah. Like if you really want to think that you're smart, go hang out with a bunch of people that agree with you. You'll think you're real smart. You'll think you're so damn smart. Like you'll walk away from that being like, wow, I'm so intellectual.
And that's basically what you just said,
I'm
though.
fantastic. Yeah, I know.
But no, I mean, you make an effort. That's why you go get coaches.
Yes.
You make an effort to be in a room where you're the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah.
Maybe not the dumbest person. It's not even about being smart or dumb. It's by like picking somebody as a role model and being like, who can I get myself to be around that's gonna get me on that level? Or like, what's my next step?
Well, yeah, that's one thing that I think that I've done that was, I don't think I meant to do it. It wasn't like intentional or anything, but it just kind of happened and I've just kept on continuing to do it. But I'll latch on to one person and I will learn. I mean, I'll spend a year and I'll buy every single product that they have. I will listen to every single blog or listen to every single podcast. I'll read every single blog. I'll do, I will deep dive into this person. Know everything about this person for like a year or 2 years, whatever. And I won't learn from anybody else.
Well, there's so many conflicting views out there, and people don't want to piss people off, so they stay on their, their brand. This is what I think. This is what we think.
Right. And I think that if you do what I just said, where you stick with one person for a year or 2 years and you don't listen to anybody else, and then you switch to somebody else and you stick with them for like a year or two, I think what you find is that that those two people that you stuck with for that year probably agree. Like they might sound at first like they're disagreeing on certain subjects, but really they fairly they just use different words or they just have a different way of going about getting the same thing.
Yeah.
I think you'd find that about if you took the best of Pilates, the best from yoga, the best from kin stretch, the best from powerlifting, the best from Olympic lifting, the best from strongman, the best from from MoveNet. You pull the best of the best of the best from all of this stuff. I think that it's basically all comes down and it says some version of the same thing, which is basically what we use at Great Gym.
Yeah, I mean, think of how many influencers are out there now, like people that are being followed by hundreds of thousands of people, and that's based off of a wealth of knowledge from other influencers. I mean, it's just all trickled down into...
Yeah, I mean, that's even an interesting perspective because then, you scale back to, pick somebody, pick one person, and then figure out who did they learn from. Learn as much as you can from that person, then go, who did they learn from? Then learn as much as you can from that person. Like if you're talking psychology, you can say, well, who did Jung learn from? Well, Jung was actually trained by Freud. Who did Freud learn from? Freud was actually trained by this person. And then you keep going back, and eventually you're going to land on Confucius. And Confucius is going to then go back and have a mentor. And you're going to learn all this different stuff from a lot of different people. And I think it's really interesting. Or that's an interesting perspective too.
Well, even all of the best artists, they all started off being an apprentice to someone else who was a better artist than they were
at the time.
But at the time, I mean, when you're starting out at 15, there's probably anybody else is probably better than you at 15. So they had to start somewhere. They picked somebody who was better than them. They learned from them and then built their craft.
Yeah. But let's get into so one thing, you have to get agreements.
Agreements. Agreed. Stop. Jeez,
all right, you have
so
to, but if you're going to build a team around you, you have to get an agreement with that person. When you come out in Grit Gym, we sit down and we set our agreements. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what you're going to do. You get very, very clear. But it's easy to skip that with the person that's right beside you. Your significant other. Like, for me to not get clear with Rach and be like, listen, this is the expectation. I'm trying to go for this, and I'm asking you to help me get there by maybe being a supportive role in XYZ, And if she said, I want to go for that, and she came to me and was like, do I have your agreement to blah, 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 blah? And I'm like, yes, I will help you any way that I can. But if you don't get that agreement up front, they're not on your team. As much as it seems like it, they're not on your team. And it makes it so hard to call the person out if you don't get that agreement up front.
Like, pointing the finger?
Yeah, because you seem like a jerk and you feel like a jerk. It's like, it's like, hey, I wanted to do this and you're not supporting me. Why?
Okay.
Versus if I say, like at Grid Gym, everybody has an agreement. We're going to work hard to improve every day. We're going to focus on the present priority, and we're going to be a positive influence to those around us. Like everybody agrees to those three things, or they're not going to be around at Grid Gym for very long. And so that means if I have that agreement with you that that's what you're going to do, and you come in one day and you're a negative influence to everybody around you, I can then come up, because we've already set the agreement, I can then come up and be like, hey, how's your attitude today?
Mm-hmm.
And they can be like,
and they can't get mad at you for
and then
being
right, because they already set the
face.
agreement. Then they go, and they'll think about their attitude, be like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize I was being such a negative person. Mm-hmm. And then they go on. It saves the relationship.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you have that agreement.
I mean, there's probably some times along the way where they're just like, I didn't know what I was signing myself up for, but it's on me now. Mm-hmm. It's on me if they're holding up their end of the bargain and I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you put a coach on your team. You and your coach get clear on where you're trying to get. Your coach's job is to get you from point A to point B. Your job is to do everything that you possibly can in getting from point A to point B also. It's a mutual agreement. It's not a 50-50. It's a 100 and a 100. And in your relationships, it's the same way. It's a 100 and a 100. Rachel is 100% responsible for our relationship. I am also 100% responsible for our relationship. It's not a 50-50. Mm-hmm. And it's not a 50-50 between you and I either. You are 100% responsible for your results. I am 100% responsible for your results.
Yeah, I mean, and they can ask you questions along the way. Like you're their support. They're paying you to be their support and help them along the way.
Yeah, accountability.
Put them on the path to the
expertise.
Yeah. Having somebody that knows what's going on and being able to ask them questions is going to get you there quicker.
Yep.
Anything. I mean.
Anything. You don't need to go out and read.
Anything that it wouldn't work for.
You go to a mechanic for your car. You go to a doctor for when you're sick. You go to a strength coach when you need to get in shape. You go to a physical therapist when you're injured.
You go to Google. Google is a sport.
You go to Google. Yeah.
I figured out how to fix the garbage disposal on Google.
When was this?
I don't know. It was like a year ago.
Did you grow a beard right afterwards?
No.
Just instantaneous chest hair?
I grew more muscles.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It's so manly of you.
Yeah, line muscles. But yeah, there's just like also asking the question and not being afraid to ask questions. Mm-hmm. I think that has a lot to do with it too. And not feeling like you asking for help is a detriment. Because if you don't and you get to a point where you can't handle it, you're going to wish you would have put that in place.
Yeah.
I mean, you can even ask for help before. Just be like, you're going to be my rock. Can I come to you? Can I come to you when I need a little bit of tough love?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if this is me reaching for this, but we don't really have an agreement where venting is okay. No. She.
Well, I'll catch myself and.
That's a weird way to say it, but she's not gonna come to me, and the whole I just wanted you to listen doesn't happen. Don't come to me with just wanting to listen. I don't care. It's not that I don't care. I really do care. That was the wrong way to put that. But I'm here. I'm not just here so that you can self-loathe while you're listening on my shoulder. I'm going to give you a solution.
He's not here to make me feel better.
But you are.
But I am.
You're here to make you feel better.
I wouldn't want him to take on my burden. And
I wouldn't want her to sit around and think that that I'm responsible, that anybody else but her is responsible for her feelings. Why would you want that for anybody?
It's not about.
Don't rely on me. I wouldn't want her to rely on me to make her happy, because then what happens when I'm not around for a week? She's just gonna walk around being all mopey.
It's not about bitching. It's not about let's say, it's not about that. If I catch myself, just being super negative and venting, how you said it, I would want to stop that right away. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I don't realize it yet, and he lets me know. But maybe that's a support system that your friends would give you.
I think
completely, but
venting is just a really silly thing.
It's understandable.
I totally understand wanting to get something off of your chest.
Yes.
Completely understandable.
Yeah.
But doing it at the expense of somebody else is ridiculous. Like sitting there, I just wanted you to listen.
No, I don't.
You wanted someone to have a pity party with you. Like, if you come to me, I'm going to try to come up with a solution. We're not going to play the pity party.
We're not just going to pat each other on the back.
No, we wouldn't just want to. No, I don't want to throw a pity party where we cry and pat each other on the back. No. That's like being around people that you agree with. It's just an intellectual back patting session. It's not. It's just a back patting session, not an intellectual one. But yeah, how do you building your support system? I think you have to do it one at a time. You vet the people that are going to be in your circle. You make absolute positive certain that that you have an agreement up front that this is how this is going to be. Okay, I'm going for this. Are you going to support me in that?
It's mutual too. You give them support, they give you support.
Right, and then you put a coach in your team. What are you going to support me in doing? What is your responsibility? What is my responsibility? You know, that's why we have the 3 agreements. That's why we ask the 2 questions. Am I going to be all in today? Or am I going to be afraid that I'm not enough? Mm-hmm. You know, you get very, very clear with who is doing what. And it's a 100 to 100. And you make sure that everybody is on the same page there. But you get a coach in your team. And you have, I have multiple coaches. I have coaches for business. I have coaches for exercise. I have coaches for physical therapy. I have coaches for, what is it? Like computer stuff, IT. I've got to know. Support. There's some stuff that I just need to know how to do. Yeah. So you have to have these people all on your team, and you're building them up, and you're trying to put the best ones on there. You get that agreement.
It's like building a network.
It totally is.
Like when you're networking, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. But we didn't go over the cannibalism thing that I was talking about.
I don't know what that is.
The cannibalism thing is where, we saw this on the show last night. F is for Family, great show, by the way. Bill Burr's the man. But so the dad says to his son, "Did I ever tell you that I wanted to be a pilot?" And the son goes, "No, why didn't you?" And he's like, "Well, I met your mom, and then you came along, and things changed." And that's completely understandable. He had a family, he had priorities, he had to change. But he's on a slippery slope right there. Is he using his family as a reason for not going after being a pilot?
I think probably in that moment, yes.
And does that young man want to be a reason for his dad not going for his dreams, or would he rather see his dad a little less and his dad's going for his dreams? I
mean, I think obviously he would want to see that, and he'd also want his son to see him as that.
Yeah, I would
example.
If I ever found out that my mom wanted to write a book when she was young and she never did because she had kids, I'd be like, "You better write that goddamn book. Janet, you better go home right now and start writing." I do not want to be the reason that you didn't go for your dreams. I would much rather have seen you less and you went for your dreams than you blame you not going for your dreams on me. I don't want to be the source of that. I don't want to be a source of resentment. I don't want to be a reason for why you didn't go for it.
And if that is the case, then should they bring that up to you?
No, they should just courageously go for their dreams, I think.
Yeah.
On some level.
Yeah.
But
so that's why it's cannibalism.
That's why it's cannibalism. You cannibalize your own dreams.
And then you blame other people on it. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's why I say all the time that if you put you first, you're better at all the things that make you great, and you're better for all the people that you care about. That's why I say that, because to do anything besides that is cannibalism.
Yeah, and it probably happens exponentially. Mm-hmm. Either way, negative or positive.
Yep. Yeah, because if you don't take care of your own needs, if you don't feed you, if you don't put the TSA mask on first, if you don't do all this stuff first, then it's going to be a rough go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to say before we send off? Is that a good stopping point?
I think that's a good one.
Okay.
Mhm.
Any last
No.
deal? I didn't know if you. All right. So next week, do we know what we're talking about?
I don't think we've talked about that yet.
I think we should talk about Chaos and Order.
Oh, maybe. Jeez.
All right. If you guys have suggestions for the show next week, topics that we should cover, current events, because we don't stay up on those, please let us know. And thanks, Aaron. Thanks. Really appreciate that. I always like it when people comment. But all right. We're going to hop off of here, though. Aaron, we'll see you in a little bit, right? All right. So thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. And please like, comment, share down below. And Rich is back next Tuesday.
Yes, I am.